Louis Theroux's new documentary on the BBC is really good, and I think why it's so good is embodied by this photo of an Israeli settler taking their child to look on the destroyed ruins of Gaza as if it is some kind of wonderful spectacle for your child to enjoy. And this fits perfectly with Louis Theroux's interview style of letting people speak for themselves, because if you let these settlers speak for themselves, they expose how racist, fanatical, and nonsensical their ideology truly is. But I still think that there's a problem with Louis Theroux's documentary that isn't really a fault of his own, but rather the choice to focus on extremist settlers. And it's kind of embodied by this Guardian review, which tries to pin the problems of Israel on just a handful of extremist settlers. But the reality of it all is that this is what Israel proper looks like. No Israeli government has ever done anything about this. I mean, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights were first conquered in 1967 by a Labour government who themselves allowed settlement of the West Bank. Of course, it was more restrained, and they tried to cloak it in the idea that it was all for military necessity. But the reality was that it laid the groundworks for more settlement in the years after. And liberal Zionists who support the state of Israel and claim that it has a right to defend itself, much like Western government officials, consistently point to these settlers and say, look, like the radical Palestinians, they are the reason that we don't have peace. There is a good and moral Israel who wants peace. If you just get rid of Netanyahu, you just get rid of these settlers, then everything will be fine. But it's just not true. The Zionist project began in this way. Just look at these quotes from early Zionists talking about dispossessing Palestinians, destroying their society. Yeah, maybe they purchased some of the land, but it's no different. They drove innocent people away from the places that they had lived in order to build a Jewish state in a land that did not belong to them. And Zionists really don't see a problem with this, nor will they ever condemn the fact that most Israelis serve in the IOF, and the reason that they serve is always, oh, Israel's defending itself from violent terror attacks. But the truth is what they are actually doing is upholding Israel's occupation of Palestinian land and the annexation of it by violent settlers. It's what Israeli soldiers do. They spend most of their time protecting these settlers. So watch the documentary if you don't know much about Palestine, but always bear in mind that this is not a problem of just a few settlers. It is something far greater.